It is Monday, the 6th of December, and this is Love Notes, daily devotions from Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. Welcome. We continue our look at the Psalms, biblical songs, and hymns of the season of Advent in our Love Notes these days. Today, our psalm is number 126, and it begins with verses of remembrance. Remembrance is important for us as we watch, as we wait, and as we wonder, particularly as we wait, because it's what gives us patience to know that what has gone before will happen again. Let me tell you what I mean. When I was an adolescent, I suppose maybe a preteen or teenager, my Boy Scout troop went to Adventureland here in the Des Moines area. Everybody decided we were going to ride the roller coaster. Now, I'd never been on a roller coaster. I was pretty young. And looking at the height and the speed and the twists and the turns, well, it twisted and turned my stomach just a little bit. I've always tended to be a little bit more cautious than daring. And so standing in the line, waiting to get on the roller coaster, I had to admit to myself that I was a bit fearful. Then I noticed, as I looked down the line to the right of me and saw the people that were waiting, and I looked to the left and saw all the people who were going to ride it before me, and I looked out and I saw the people getting off, one after the other, full of excitement. After moments before, they had been screaming, waving their arms and embracing themselves in panic, but got off, seeming to have a good time. I reflected that perhaps that could be a source of hope for me. Knowing that people every day rode that roller coaster, knowing that people every day did so without harm and experiencing joy, in a small act of remembrance of what had been, I found the courage to get on the roller coaster. I've done the same thing throughout my adult life. Maybe I'm facing a medical procedure, or I'm waiting for news to come about a diagnosis or whatever it may be. I remember that thousands of people have had the same medical procedure and have survived. I remember that people get through the suffering of life and do so and thrive. By remembering what God has done in these situations, what people have done in these situations, I then have the courage to be patient and to act. It is especially true that we use this method in our spiritual life. The psalmist today begins with remembrance by saying, "When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dream. Then our mouth was filled with laughter and our tongue with shouts of joy." This is a past tense remembrance. The Lord restored the fortunes of Zion. It happened in the past. The situation of the psalm is now that the people of Judah and of Jerusalem sit in the midst of struggle and darkness. And in order to get through it, they remember, like I remembered all the people who got off the roller coaster, they remember what God has done, how God has created all that there is, how God has promised to Abraham and Sarah a covenant that will be kept, how God delivered Noah from the flood, how God delivered the people in the Exodus, and for us, most importantly, how God delivered Jesus from the bonds of death through the resurrection. When we find ourselves struggling and facing the darkness of the world, we begin by remembering what God has done and that God is very near. We remember what God has done because we can then trust what God will do in our lives. The song for today is "When It Seems the Day Will End," a song that's fairly new. The verse says, "When it seems the day will end and all light gives way to fear, we will speak your name again to remind us you are here. New life rising. God has acted before, and God will act in goodness and grace again. Let us pray. Our merciful God, you have been with us and our ancestors in ages past. You have delivered those who look to you for deliverance. You have sustained those who needed sustenance. You have given daily bread to those who were hungry and needed support. You have been the guiding light of all generations. Lord, remind us of that as we sit in this present darkness and we wait. We wait for you to act and deliver us. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.